I hope you enjoyed the other video that I gave. Maybe say asking me why did I do it. I had to do it. But I told you that I was going to give you a video about God. Now, this topic is called God made us in His image and His likeness. And I want to let everybody know that God eats food just like man eats food. Now, I'm going to explain to you what kind of food He eats because someone's fast to say, "Well, God doesn't eat meat. God doesn't eat this. How can God eat meat? How can God eat food? How can God drink? Do He need that to survive or whatever?" No. When we go to heaven, or whoever, when the believers go to heaven and the unbelievers go to hell, in heaven we're going to have a feast, and that's the Passover feast that we now take, which is communion in the church. Now let's turn. If you got your Bible open, you turn to Genesis chapter 18, verse 8, and it says that, and he took butter and milk and the calf which he had dressed and set it before them, and he stood by them under the tree, and they did eat. Now this is Moses. Now Moses, I mean not Moses. This is Abraham. Now God promised Abraham that He would give him a son by Sarah, and they laughed at God because God came down with two angels. Now that is the Messiah, Jesus Himself. Okay, and the two angels represents God enthroned over the heavens, and we're gonna have a lesson about that. But let me get this: God came down to the earth in a man's form, which is Christ. He came down as an angel, came down, and He came to tell Abraham, "I'm going to give you a seed by Sarah." Okay, and if you read on from chapter 18, if you read what happened, after that was said, you know, Abraham fixed the two angels and God something to eat. Now, God and angels eat even in heaven. So why wouldn't they eat on earth? God's showing you, yeah, I got appetite. I don't need it to survive. Remember, we are in His likeness, so if we got a stomach, He has a stomach. Now let's go on and see more about God. Let's turn to Exodus chapter 24, verse 9 through 11. 24, verse 9 through 11. Exodus chapter 24, verse 9 through 11. It says, "Then went up Moses and Aaron and Nabal and Abar and 70 of the elders of Israel. And they saw God of Israel, and there was under his feet as it were a paved work of sapphire stone, and as it were the body of heaven in his clearness. Upon the nobles of the children of Israel, he laid not his hand. Also, they saw God and did eat and drink." Now, God has met Moses on top of a mountain. Now, we know that I have a lesson about God, and how the transition about the Bible, and how you hear of God in the Bible refers by Himself. And God walked with Moses, and He talked to Moses as He did with Abraham. So God tell them to come up to the mountain for a banquet. Okay. Now Moses gives us a unique description of this. He says that under his feet, as it were paid a work of sapphire, which means that God walks on gold. He walks on precious stones, which means that He didn't touch the earth. God Himself has never touched this earth in His regular form. His feet is up on the earth, but He's never walked this earth a day in His life. But He was on the mountain because they called Him the God of the mountains in the old times, and you hear it if you ever seen what that movie called, I forgot what it's called. It's a movie, and it's like an old movie, and it talks about the God of the mountains. A lot of people in history said there's a God in the mountains, there's a God in the mountains, and God always met man on mountains in the old biblical times. So when Moses and the elders and Nabal and Aaron, who was a priest, and all of them went up there to talk with God, they sat down and ate with God. This shows that God eats. We learn from that scripture that even God and the angels did eat. They ate. You know, so you can look at these scriptures and you keep reading. Let's turn to Luke chapter 22. So now we're going to New Testament. You know that God eats. People are saying, well, you know, why does God need to eat? God's showing you that in the beginning He wanted to fellowship with man, and He still wants to, and that's why He sent the Messiah, and then had the Messiah do things that He needed him to do. Luke chapter 22, verse 16 says, "For I say unto you, I will not eat any more thereof until it be fulfilled in the kingdom of heaven." Now, this is Christ talking, and this is the Last Supper. Okay, He's letting us know in verse 16 that the Passover, which was being eaten at that time, and will be honored in heaven when we get there with Him. Look at verse 18. "For I say unto you, I will not drink of the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of heaven, kingdom of God shall come." Now, what He means by that, Christ said, "I'm not going to eat or drink until God's kingdom comes." I mean, when this old earth is destroyed, and when the old heaven is destroyed, and God rebuilds it and makes it all that He wanted to be in the beginning, like the Garden of Eden, Christ said, "I will eat again." If you read verse 30, it says that ye may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and sit on the thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Now He's talking to the 12 disciples. He told them that you will eat with me. He's talking to us. We will eat with Him. He told the disciples, you will sit at my table and you will eat with me, and you will judge the 12 tribes of Israel. We will sit with Christ and we will eat with Him, and we will judge our angels. And that's a later day when I get to that. I'm gonna get to that for y'all. Think that y'all ready for that one yet? Of the judging that's going to take place in heaven, both for man and for angels themselves. But you know, Christ ate on the earth. You know, come on. I think that Satan came to Him and tried to tempt Him in the garden. Tempt Him in the wilderness with food, because he knew that he was hungry. Now, when we look at Revelation chapter 2, verse 7. And it says, "He that have an ear, let him hear what the scripture, what the Spirit saith unto the churches. To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of God." He's saying, and this is the first church, and if you read the churches, you understand what has happened with them. Christ said, "If he who hears the Spirit, I will sit down and I will eat with such a person." Shown again that He would eat with man. Verse 17 says, "He that have an ear, let him hear what the Spirit said unto the churches. To him that overcometh would I give to eat of the hidden manna, and will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man nameth shall receive it." He's basically saying now, in the old time, in the time of the wilderness, God had hidden manna. He told Moses to put manna inside of a jar and to wrap it up. And that's the same manna that manna owes. I got something on that too. But He has hidden manna, the bread of life, the bread of heaven, which is the Messiah Himself. And lastly, not least, the Revelation 22, verse 2. Now there are many more scriptures in the Bible that speaks of God eating with man. Verse 2 says, "In the midst of the street of it, and on either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruit, and yield her fruit every month, and the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations." We will eat with God. God doesn't eat as man has eaten. He doesn't eat meat. Shows you what He eats: butter, milk, bread, and fruit. Butter, milk, bread, and fruit. Butter, milk, bread, and fruit, which are all nutritious for the body. So God doesn't eat as man has eaten. That's why we're in His image. And Christ has not yet eaten yet until we come join Him in His heavenly kingdom.